we're live.
What's going on, everybody? It's Leo and
Chris,
the Cohen Group Northwest, and we're back with the nitty-gritty dispatches from the front. This is where we get real with you about things that are happening and less about the data and more about the experience, right? And so what's on the agenda for today?
today's topic is communication.
What kind of communication?
Very good communication. It can be one of those things that kind of goes to the wayside. It's something we don't always think about professionally as being, a skill, if you will, or something that's, vital, but it really is. I think communication for us breaks down into three parts. We've got communication between agents and clients, between agents and vendors, such as escrow or lenders, and then also between agents themselves, so agent to agent across the table as we work together. So I think all three of those parts are super important, have to happen in order to have anything happen successfully or efficiently. And we're here today to talk about those things.
So let's talk about agent to client communication. So really what's important is your communication style as a buyer or a seller. There can be a good communicator that may over communicate, not be a good fit with you specifically. So it's important to step one, make sure that you fit, right? And it's important because this person is going to be communicating all these potentially complicated or complex things that are happening. But their job is just to synthesize it, make it digestible in your communication style, and help you get moving forward, right?
Yep. This industry is very relationship based. It's about me and you and what kind of, trust we have between each other. I'm your protector in essence. I'm here to coach you and make sure that you make, wise choices and, get the best at the end of the day. So, we need to trust each other first and foremost, but we also need to communicate in a similar way. That way, when things do get tough or scary or uncomfortable, we can have those conversations without it dragging on or being really awkward.
And one of those like really big pieces is, do you want to work with someone that's going to tell you what you want to hear or what you need to hear, right? At the end of the day, I'm not always loved in those moments where you have to say exactly how it is, but ultimately we need to convey that. Otherwise we're not going to move forward. So that's another piece too, right? What's the honest truth of what's happening, not like dancing around the point, and just get to it. Now let's talk about agent to vendor. Or
yes.
Communication with vendors.
Yes. So vendors don't work for us, wouldn't you know? They are independent, right? They have their own clients that they work for. Lenders being specific, working for a buyer. Escrow is that kind of third-party neutral zone. They don't work necessarily for anyone, but they're a key element to how we process things. They are required. So, being really courteous with them and understanding that, everybody has their own timelines. Everybody is processing their own giant checklist of needs as we run through things. So just being really courteous and respectful of each other, being polite and staying on top of things, being as proactive as you can, especially things on the listing and things like, an appraisal is going to happen if you take a financed offer. You need water heater straps, you need CO2 and smoke detectors, get those in the house, get them done ahead of time, keep everybody's job moving as easily as you can. Real estate agents fall kind of in that middle ground. We're like the catch-all guys where we end up doing whatever's needed. And that's okay, but that puts more pressure on us to constantly think ahead of, what does the vendor need and how can I get that done quickly?
So in any given transaction, you've got varying levels of communication between the other agent and the client, you and your client. Hopefully it's a good, strong connection, good trust, good level of communication. And you've got all this varying level. So it's our job also to meet the other party at whatever level that they're at, right?
Yep.
On your behalf as
Yep.
a client.
Exactly.
Let's get to the meat and potatoes of this. Let's just get down to the nitty gritty here. Let's talk about agent to agent, Chris. I mean, there's good and bad. We're all in this. It's a relationship business on every level, and there's good and bad.
Yep.
And when it's bad, it actually negatively affects the buyer and the seller, the most important people in this whole interaction. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. We've discussed that before, that, working nicely together, if you will, is very important. Everyone wants to win. Everyone wants to win for their client and be the hero. And that's valiant, right? But we also need to remember that transactions are often a compromise. Everyone needs to be happy with the outcome, not just one side. So the vital piece of that is communication to get to that compromise. It's not just about you and your client, and it's not about you especially. I think sometimes we get wrapped up in the fact that, we're the hero and we need to shine and we need to do all these awesome things, but really it's not about us. It's about the seller. It's about the buyer. The clients are there. We're just the coaches, right? But they're the star players. So I think realizing that, and then realizing that we need to talk to each other really closely as agent to agent to make things go smoothly and efficiently. Things like inspection periods, they can be very distressing. The seller doesn't want to do anything. They're trying to net most amount of money. The buyer wants the whole world. They basically want the home fully remodeled and perfect, right? So where's that happy medium? How do we make sure everyone's in agreement and get it done quickly? Because there's only so much back and forth you can have before it's, okay, we're done now.
That's right. Well, and like it ultimately comes down to the core goal. Both parties, you can tell when one party has the goal of being the hero and negotiating the absolute moon, which I'm not saying you don't want to negotiate the best possible scenario, but when it becomes at the cost of the other party, like significantly, where they start to feel like at every turn they're just getting steamrolled, that's not a good overall end result, right? Obviously, you want to negotiate on as best as you possibly can, but you just don't want to put other people out for that reason. Everybody's in some sort of life stage. Everyone's moving, they're shifting their life. It's got to be a good win-win. And as real estate brokers, that communication between each other, that here's what my client wants, and I'm going to guide them on if that's realistic, right? It's not just agent to agent, it's agent to client, so that when they come back with a communication to give to the other party, it's with proper expectations, it's reasonable, it's thinking about the other people to a certain extent and what their best interest is as well, and getting the deal done, right? So yeah, that's communication. Anything else on communication that you can think of that's key in this real estate world?
I think that's about it, actually. Answer your phone, get back to me with text messages, send me emails. And obviously, let's be realistic, guys. I mean, there's some grace there. I mean, emails within 24 hours, phone calls within a couple hours. But I just think that as long as we are on top of things and moving things along, we'll be just fine.
And you can always ask, you can always say, I don't know the answer, let me find out.
Mm-hmm.
Don't always need to be the person, Johnny on the spot, and give the answer right away. If you don't know something, ask the question, get back within 24 hours. Let's keep things moving. Once again, thanks for listening to Dispatches, the nitty gritty on the front. And thanks for talking about communication.
Absolutely. Have a great